Chelsea fans, the Conference League game has been played and now we shift our focus back to the Premier League where Enzo Maresca faces his biggest test. Chelsea host Aston Villa Sunday 1:30pm kickoff at Stamford Bridge, and this is a huge game. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about Enzo Maresca's biggest test yet. And to do this, I spoke to my good friend Saiji TV, where we talk about the recent Heidenheim game, Reece James injury updates, players returning back from fitness, Enzo Maresca's biggest test yet, and also building our predicted Chelsea 11. So make sure you watch to the end. Did you know that 90% of the people watching this video right now are currently not subscribed to the channel? So make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. Make sure you join the community and let's get into the video. We are back with Mr. Saiji TV, my guy. How are we doing? How are we feeling?
I'm very well. I'm very excited, man, for this one.
I love it. Yeah, it's... First episode was great. Thoroughly enjoyed it. A lot of the people that watched it thoroughly enjoyed it as well. But we've just recently played Heidenheim. I think that's how you say it. Heidenheim.
Yeah.
So we've kind of got immediate thoughts and overall thoughts of that game to go over, as well as what I believe is Enzo Maresca's biggest test against Aston Villa, which is this Sunday, and I'm super excited for that. I know that it's on your favourite day of Sunday, so it's right at the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
Be very interesting. And then, of course, we're going to go over our predicted 11 for that game. And we've had some good news in regards to that, and some bad news. We've had some Reece James news as well. We can kind of touch on a little bit. But Pedro Neto and Gusto back for that. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Definitely for depth especially, and for competition of places, because our last game everyone played very, very well. But now there's players coming back. Will Felix keep his place? Will Neto go in? Obviously, Gusto will take back the right back, but yeah, it's a healthy. What's the word they coaches say? It's a healthy problem for us as a club to have. But
a good headache.
That's it.
A good headache.
That's it. A healthy problem. No, Sam. It's a good headache. It's the other way around.
It's a good headache, or a conundrum. I like that word. I don't get to use it very often, so I use it wherever I can. But before we get into Villa and all the pre-match, I just wanted to kind of ask you your overall thoughts on that Conference League game against Heidenheim. I personally thought that in big spells it was a very tough watch.
Yeah, it was.
And I feel like Heidenheim were a more competitive side than what we've seen so far in the Conference League. And I feel that kind of skewed a lot of people's views on the game because it wasn't a Noah. We're going to go out and spank them 8-0. Because we don't particularly know too much about Heidenheim unless you're a fan of Bundesliga. I think people were caught by surprise. I think they played well. But I just want to know your overall thoughts from your perspective. How do you think we did?
To be honest with you, I mean, I'll be real. I missed the first 20 minutes. I was doing my other content, and I came in, I would say, after 15 minutes. So I don't think much happened. So when I did watch the game, it was... I think Heidenheim are a very well drilled team in terms of how the manager wants them to play. Get behind the ball, play on the counter. And I think Maresca knew that and wanted Chelsea to be patient in possession. So we weren't playing a lot of... And there was moments where Sancho was on the ball and he was looking to see who's going to run in behind, and nobody was. But that's how Sancho likes to play. But even though Heidenheim were very well organised and very well drilled, everyone behind the ball, when we get the ball, we counter-attack. Chelsea were like, right, we're going to keep possession of the ball and kind of wait and see if you're going to come out of your position, and we're playing behind. So it was very much like a chess game in the first half. It was very much like who's going to make the first move, who's going to make the first mistake. And from a spectator's point of view, it's quite boring, very slow, very lethargic. But at the same time, there were some good moments where Chelsea was showing some maturity out of possession. So there was a moment where in the first half, I think tossing, it was 3-on-1, and Heidenheim got the ball, bearing down, and Tosin was waiting, and then as soon as he had an opportunity to get the ball, he got the ball. I thought that was, for me, that gets overlooked. But for someone like us who know ball, they're like, that's absolutely fantastic. To defend very well in a 3v1,
there was a couple of times when I think it was Disasi lost possession and Tosin cleaned up. And again, I think it does go unnoticed because he was so quick to react and win the ball back. There was one time where it might have been the same sort of situation where he just cleared the ball. Like he's waited for his right moment, but he's just gone through it. No nonsense. Get the ball down there and like recover. I think Tosin played well, and I think there are some positives to take from this game. I don't think we were bad at all. I don't think any player particularly played bad. I think Disasi's performance was a very hit and miss. There were very poor spells of it. There was some good parts too. Caught in possession quite a lot. Yeah. But again, so did Tosin a few times with some passes. Badiashile, it's pretty standard when you've got a team. Really brought it onto us. And are more competitive than what we're used to playing in this competition. Yeah. But one positive for me, or two massive ones, is Jorgensen was absolutely outstanding.
Oh man, he was
unreal. The saves he was making literally kept us in this game.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
He looked levels above what Robert Sanchez is right now in terms of overall game.
It's like we trust him. I trust you in those really one-on-one moments with Sanchez. You're like, I don't know.
Will it? Do you know what I mean? And the other thing I will say is, even though we conceded a lot of chances from Heidenheim, they scored 2 offside goals, and I think it's a real testament to our defensive line and the way that we kept that line throughout the entire game. There are times when teams play an offside trap and get caught out near the end of the game. So, I think we did very well defensively in that sense. But yeah, we ground out the result, and I think that's something we've not seen from Chelsea in a long while. We're starting to see more and more this season. I think it's a well earned 3 points.
And you got to give Maresca a bit of props, because I think I mentioned in the previous video, Maresca is known for being very
one-dimensional.
One-dimensional. It doesn't matter. Even when it was 1-0 and it's very cagey, it looked like we were going to concede the equaliser. You would think, okay, get behind the ball, Mourinho-esque type tactic. Maresca's like, no, we're playing the same way. But at the same time, you got to give Maresca his props, because he has drilled our back line. Those offside goals, when they freeze-framed it, it looked like everyone was where they should be.
Everyone was doing their job. Yeah,
it was very,
every
very
single time.
Nobody was dropping a little bit deeper. Just keep the line, be brave, and then 2 offsides, and it was absolutely, I think you could say, well, maybe because Hoffenheim didn't have enough quality in their, in strikers, they could have timed their runs. You could say that, but
yeah,
from
there's
our
always
point
an
of
argument
view,
for that.
It looked really good. We looked very, very. I won't go as far as saying solid. We just looked organised. I think that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, 100%. Because I will say, throughout the game, there were moments of lapse of judgment or mistakes made. But again, when we were playing that offside trap, I think we did it exceptionally well today, purely because of the amount of offsides Heidenheim had. Based on that, I think the balls were not perfectly timed, obviously, because they were caught out, but they were good enough for us to catch him out. Sancho with 2 assists on his return, unreal.
He was unbelievable. He was unbelievable. I think from the first half, when people are asking me who's your man of the match, I said Sancho, and this is before the Mudryk goal. I said Sancho's been brilliant. Every time he's on the ball, his dribbling has been threatening. His final balls have been dangerous. Sancho was showing a lot of intelligence when he was when the ball was on his side, and I think he was dangerous in moments. And obviously the assist to Mudryk it literally just topped off his performance. For me, Sancho, even before his second assist, I said he was man of the match for me. He was absolutely phenomenal for us. But again, people say it's only the Europa League. Don't get excited. But still, he's showing levels though. He's showing, look, I can do this at a level lower than me, and I'm going to prove to you I can do it in the Premier League level. Doesn't matter what level I'm on, I will produce quality.
Give me an opportunity, and I will produce. For sure. Well, overall, we got 2 points. I think the Cassidy send off was a bit harsh, that second yellow. You've seen him just kind of let go and given a warning, but it is what it is.
He just doesn't want to go to Kazakhstan, man.
That's all it is, bro.
He doesn't want to go. He's like, rah, I just heard that it's a 14-hour flight. Let me pick up that second yellow.
I'm good. But yeah, we will leave that. I just wanted to get your overall thoughts, because again, at the moment, it's a bit all over the place, and it's nice to hear different opinions. I still think it's a well worth 3 points that's ground out. But we're going to move on to Villa, and I think this is genuinely Enzo Maresca's biggest test as Chelsea manager. Definitely. It's not Liverpool. It's not City. It's not Arsenal. These are games where we're not expected to win, but we want to compete in those games, right? Close the gap, as they say. Aston Villa are basically where we wanted to finish last year. They've had a good Champions League run. They've got a great manager. They're well organised. They can finish. They can play good football. The results haven't been as amazing as they want to this season. Great Champions League campaign so far. I just feel like they're in and around the positions of the league where we are aiming to be at the end of the season. And I feel like it's a very pivotal point for our season, and Enzo Maresca to be able to showcase we can beat teams like this.
Yeah.
And, I just think it's going to be an interesting one for sure. I think I feel confident we'll win. I really do feel confident, but it depends how we set up. It depends how we start the game.
I think it will be I think if we do win, it will be a signature win for Maresca to say, look, not only do I feel like we're a top table team, but the team that finished top 4, we're above them as well. So I think it's a statement for him and for the club to say, look, we're above clubs like Aston Villa. Maybe we can't beat the likes of Man City or United, Arsenal. We can't beat them, but teams that are around us that we can beat. I think the only threat that Aston Villa pose to Chelsea is that, say we do play that offside trap, they've got quality strikers who, like, you can play the trap, but I'm not going to fall into it. I'm going, and you got strikers, you got attackers who can actually finish their chances. Because the amount of Hoffenheim, they had their chances, and yes, offside trap, or they missed, or they got saved. Aston Villa got quite, and that's where Chelsea will falter if we don't defend very well.
I also feel, just quickly, that when we go through to the knockout stages of the Conference League, we will be bringing in first teamers.
You think so?
Yeah, I think we will see, not all of them, but I think we'll see a number of them into the knockout rounds.
Can we re-register?
Yeah, so for January, you can re-register people into the squad because it goes into the knockout rounds in March. I think we might see an introduction of a few of the first teamers there. Maybe defensively, maybe midfield. I don't know. I can just see it happen.
I looked at the table and I was like, who are these teams, man? I mean, I saw Fiorentina in there.
Fiorentina, Copenhagen, Panathinaikos, potentially Hearts. I think they're a bit of a bogey one. You never know what you're going to get on a European night.
Is Real Betis around there somewhere?
Real Betis and Heidenheim. They are like the 6 teams. I'm like, they are the competitive ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just got a funny feeling. But we've got Villa on Sunday. I think it's going to be a big challenge, big test. We've had some good news and bad news regarding players that are going to be available. We've got the news today that Reece James will not be available, and it looks like he won't be back until at least the end of the year, which personally makes me a little sad, because as much as it frustrates me that Reece James can't string a run of games together and he's always injured, and it's been this case for the last few years, it genuinely frustrates me because of the talent he's got. It has actually split a lot of the Chelsea fans, and a lot of Chelsea fans are like, we need him gone. I'm done with him now. Like, he just can't keep fit, blah, blah, blah. And I understand the frustration and I understand the emotional side of it. But for me, I think right now, we just have to back him. He is our captain.
I'm gonna back Reece James. I've been in arguments on Instagram, on TikTok. I will back Reece James until he decides his time is up. I will back him, because we've seen Reece James fully fit, top of his game. We know what he can do. All of a sudden now he's injured and injuries happen. It's like, oh, I want him out now. He's not good enough. Gusto, listen. Like, we're just listen. I empathise with Reece because he's got injury problems, but we know how good Reece James is. He's our captain as well. He's one of our own, and loyalty in this day and age, there's not much of it especially in football. Yes, Reece James injured, but I'm going to be one of those fans who's for Reece James. Until he decides my career at Chelsea's over, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm always going to back Reece James. Always.
Yeah, I recently did a video saying 3 reasons why Chelsea need to sell Reece James, and it's a bit of a spin of a video, because you can tell from some of the comments I got that they didn't watch the video. The video was set up where, in the intro, I was basically given a load of reasons by people in my TikTok. And I was like, this is what you've given me, and these are my thoughts on them. And one of them was like, from a logical standpoint, I understand that the club will make a business decision.
They will have to, yeah.
And I get that. I am frustrated as a fan because I know how good he is. I don't want Chelsea to sell Reece James. Absolutely not. But at the same time, there's a bit at the back of my mind that kind of understands if it happened. I'd be like,
You have to understand.
I'm not
it's
happy
annoying,
with it, but I do see where they're coming from when it's an asset and whatnot. But I just think of him. I think of his mental health, and he's the one that actually has to deal with this. And then he goes online, all he sees is people arguing whether they want him or not. And it's just crazy, you know? So we wish him a speedy recovery. We have the positive news, which is Gusto is back and Neto is back for Villa. I am a bit concerned about our right-back positions right now, because Gusto is our only fit and signed, ready to play right-back. No Reece James, and Ashimpong hasn't signed a contract. So we only have Gusto and Disasi that can play there. So we're back to last season.
And maybe Fofana can fill in.
Fofana has done well when he squeezes across onto that right.
Well, the good news is, if there is,
does mean that we can
January's here. If Chelsea see that there's I think this will. If Chelsea make this move, it means Reece James is gone. If Chelsea go and buy a right back in January,
do you think it's gone, or do you think they're just covering?
If it's a loan, if we're like, look, we're going to loan a right back, then yeah, that means that they're covering Reece James.
Even if
it's
they bring someone, I mean, we could recall Gilchrist. He's playing right back at Sheffield. To be fair, Fofana can do a job there.
I would love Alfie back.
I'm just thinking it from a numbers perspective. Ashimpong can't decide what he's doing with his contract. He's gone, leave. And Reece James is injured. So that genuinely leaves us with one right back. So if that's the case, and they're like, cool, we're not going to put pressure on Reece to come back, they're going to need to buy someone. Or someone's got to play that role who's happy to, or good enough to play that job. So it will be an interesting window for sure. But yeah, Neto being back, Gusto being back, huge bonus for us.
Neto so straight in.
Let's get straight in. They'll go walking into the team. It's going to be an interesting lineup as well, to be fair, because there's a few question marks in a few positions from what we've seen in the last few games, and that top four, in terms of the attacking four, you could kind of go either way at the moment.
Yeah. You starting from goal. You start from the back first. Let's start
entirely from you. Normally, I would start in goal, and I think that's where the biggest question mark lies. Because I feel
okay. So striker would be. We know who's going to be our striker, isn't it? Nicholas
Jackson.
No, everyone's gonna be like, we know where he's going to play.
For sure. There are arguments for Nkunku to get minutes. I totally hear those, but I fully back Jackson. He's class, and he's just showing he's a completely transformed player this season. He's scoring goals regularly. He's getting assists. His link-up play we know is great. His hold-up play is good. He's just bullying defenders in the last game we played. I think he's going to have a good game against Villa.
I think
we know that Jackson's going up front.
But people who want Nkunku to be a 9 did not watch Nkunku play under RB Leipzig. They did.
He's not a 9.
He's not a 9. People say, no, he can play. He can play up top. Jackson, you lot did not watch Nkunku play when he was getting player of the month, week in, week out. Well, not week in, week. When he was getting player of the month every month. He wasn't playing up top. He was playing with that Portuguese striker.
He's playing as like a shadow striker. Yeah, like, not quite a CF, but just a little bit further forward. I
can't remember that Portuguese. He's tall and he's big.
Was it Postega? Or Postelga or something.
Something like that. I think he played for AC Milan. But I don't know. But a Portuguese striker is playing. Those two are playing alongside each other. But yeah, I'm not
banging in goals. Yeah. But yeah, he's not. I don't think he's a 9. I think Maresca has labelled him as a 9 this season, so he can be rotated with Jackson.
Yeah.
But we know he's better as like a number 10 role or whatnot. But then you look at our number 10 position; it's stacked. Palmer, Felix. And then you go down the pecking order. Chukwuemeka is also a 10. Yeah. You then add Nkunku in there. You've got four players for one position.
Yeah.
It's just a bit nuts. But we'll go with the goalkeeper because I am genuinely convinced that Maresca, like Robert Sanchez, must be blackmailing Maresca at this point. Because when you 100%. See a performance from Jorgensen against Heidenheim like that, surely he's got to get minutes, right?
No. Nah, they're gonna play. They're gonna play Sanchez, man. I'm gonna bet my life on it. If I see Jorgensen, if I see Jorgensen in that lineup, I'll be like, we're free at last. We're free. But he's gonna play him, and not because we want him to, because he will. You know.
I think the one thing that when you've mentioned about Maresca having like a route 1 or like a type A, that's it. Is he likes consistency. I feel like Sanchez is his consistent goalkeeper.
Yep.
And until he does anything, well, we've seen what he can do that's bad, and it's still not enough.
Like an own goal or something stupid like that.
Could you imagine?
If he scores an own goal, I'll be like, oh man,
that's a shame.
That's such a shame.
But yeah, I suppose we can fill out our right back because there's only one we've got, right?
Gusto.
Do you feel he's going to play Gusto, or do you think he's going to push Fofana across? I mean, I think he'll just play Gusto.
I think he'll play Gusto, but then again, Fofana. But then there's Leicester in it, man. Fofana, it didn't. Gusto's going to be the one. I mean, we almost got the lineup right last time, man. We almost
weren't. Yeah, we weren't far off. You know,
we weren't far. I mean, we didn't think Felix was going to play. We thought Neto. We put Viega.
Yeah, I didn't see him doing. It wasn't Viega. Felix Palmer.
No.
But at the same time, you ain't going to get more right all the time, you know what I mean?
No, you're not.
We did it was a good effort.
Yeah.
So do we feel like the 3 in the back are going to be Kuka,
the usual.
Levi? Fofana.
Yeah.
I can't see why not. I think Kuka is exceptional as a left back.
Cuckoo. See you.
That's the one.
There you go.
I can't spell.
I thought he was brilliant. Has been brilliant.
Been exceptional, hasn't
he? Yeah, and he's probably one of the oldest one in the group.
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, the system that we're in, it suits him. I mean, he is typical Barcelona. He's a Barcelona graduate, so you know how they like to play with their fullbacks pushing on and all that good stuff. I think
now, I said this on my live stream in the Conference League game, that when Cucurella first signed, I absolutely hated him. I thought he was atrocious, mate. I really couldn't back him. I thought he just looked like Bambi on ice. And over time, you kind of appreciate the skill set he's got, and he's been in form for a long, long time. And he's one of my favourite players now. He's really changed my opinion from, like, I wouldn't say that the last run of games. That's when it was kind of like, right, he's found the way to play for Chelsea. But from the turn of the year, I was slowly, week by week, I was like, do you know what?
He's starting to come into his own.
He's finding his feet now, and I can see why we bought him and whatnot. Whereas now, I'm like, he's one of the best, if not the best left back in the league currently. He's class.
Yeah, he is.
When it comes to the holding midfielders, do you think it's going to be Caicedo, Lavia, Caicedo, Enzo?
Enzo Caicedo, man.
I'm glad you said that, because
Enzo Caicedo, and Enzo's going to be the captain.
Oh, yeah, he will be.
He's going to be the captain.
He actually will be, yeah.
And he might be our new captain.
Do you think?
Because I read a report, Maresca's looking to build a team around him.
That's interesting, because when we first bought him, and he obviously was playing under a load of managers in short succession, it was like Chelsea aren't stable enough because you're building around Enzo, and we're not building around Enzo, and then we are building around it, and it was all this confusion. But I've said that Caicedo Enzo as a double pivot can work. It just needs to grow over time. But at the time that we were trying to force it to work, I think we needed more time to see what he could do. I like the Caicedo Lavia, but Lavia has a very intense role and can only do 50, 60 minutes. And the other side of that is, I think it's too defensive. I think Enzo needs to be in there for the creativity.
They're both quite similar, if anything. So,
for sure. But when it comes to this attacking three, this is where the question marks are. We know that Cole Palmer's going to play.
It's going to be Cole Palmer.
We know it's going to be Palmer. It's more the wingers, if I'm being honest. Cole Palmer is going to play in that 10.
Because I'll be honest with you, Sancho put in such a performance. Because the reason why Neto is in the lineup now, got his first Premier League start. I think it was against Newcastle, was because Neto done so well in the Europa Conference League.
Very true.
It wouldn't surprise me. Now everyone's talking about Madueke. He's just like James. It's dividing Chelsea fans. People saying Madueke ain't good enough. People saying it's the way he wants to play. He needs to learn more. But Sancho, I think Sancho is showing what Maresca wants. When you're on the ball, be dangerous. Take on players, be dangerous, feint, draw another player in. Yes, they're doubling up on you, but you're drawing another player out of position, play the pass in, threatening through balls, that's what Sancho did today. I think that's what Maresca wants.
100%.
It wouldn't surprise. I mean,
breath of fresh air to see him tonight in the Conference League game.
It is.
I hadn't seen him play for a while, and he just came on, and he knows what his role is, and he just executes it.
I think it'll still be Madueke.
On the right-hand side.
Maresca sounds very stubborn. When you hear
consistent players.
When you hear him say things like, they need to fit into my system, this, that, and the other, he sounds like he's someone very stubborn. Madueke hasn't done anything wrong, but he's got Sancho breathing down his neck. So I don't think Madueke is going to...
And Neto, really, because both Sancho and Neto can play left or right-hand side. So, the competition, now they're all fit and ready to go, the competition's going to stack up. So I genuinely think if Noni doesn't perform in the next couple of games with such a short turnaround of games, he may be dropped if Sancho and Neto are both fit and playing well.
Madueke could be in the Europa League squad.
The left wing position even more difficult, because do you do Mudryk because he had a good game against Conference League? Do you do Sancho because he just got 2 assists in his first game back? Or do you do Pedro Neto, who played outstanding against Arsenal before the international break? Okay. He didn't play against Leicester.
So we'll talk about Mudryk. Mudryk has played very well. against Heidenheim, a very defensive team.
Think he's deserved Premier League minutes?
No. I think this one's an easy one because I think... You see how when Mudryk first came to Chelsea, we put him in the Premier League team and he struggled 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 and he struggled. Now, he's found a team, a squad in a competition that's his level. What Mudryk needs is confidence.
He is a confidence player for sure.
I think this is building up his confidence. After he's done so well today, throwing him into the Premier League team is just going to undo the work we've done. You've got to treat Mudryk very, very carefully. He's like a delicate flower that you can't just, throw into with a bunch of flowers. You've got to keep him by himself, look after it. Mudryk seems like that type of player. Put him in the Premier League team. Put him in the Premier League team will just undo everything you've done, and his confidence is going to go down. Bring him on as a sub. Bring him on as a sub when the game's won.
I think he would have more of an impact as a sub as well, because in his mind there might be less pressure. When you start a game, it's massively different as a player. And you can tell with certain players that do play regularly, and when they do come on, impact sub for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so no Mudryk, but that still leaves Sancho with 2 assists on the Thursday night game, coming back from injury, and you've also got Neto who's back from injury. Neto played well in the last game he played against Arsenal, got the goal. He obviously got us the draw. Who are you going for? Who would you choose?
I would say, as much as I believe Sancho has been fantastic, Neto has to start because Neto gives you energy.
Ooh.
Neto gives you a lot of...
he's rapid, man.
He's very rapid, up and down. Sancho's good. And fair to Sancho, also Sancho going back and covering as well, dropping back in defence. Sancho's doing very, very well, but I just don't think it's enough for Sancho to start. I think we still got to keep the faith with Neto because, again, he played well against Arsenal. Yes, he hasn't. He's been injured and he hasn't been back in the squad yet. But if he is
played well in the international break as well before he picked up that knock. So
okay, I would say Neto. I would say Neto would be the right choice if he is fit.
Yeah.
But then again, we've got Felix who played well against Leicester.
That's the other sort of dark horse of Felix played well, and the whole Palmer Felix in the same team. That first half was frightening, and Felix's pressing and defensive work. He was playing with a point to prove.
Felix was brilliant when he came on, man.
He was honestly, I want this position, mate. I want Prem minutes.
You can tell he's fighting for. You can tell by the way he's playing. He's really fighting for his place in the team to start. And credit to him because. It's a tough team to break into, but out of all the positions available, the only ones I would say that are available, unless Jackson gets injured, are the wide positions. They're the only ones available that are for grabs.
What could potentially happen is Felix could start on that left, and then you could have the replacements throughout the game, which would be Neto on that left to not give him the full 90 to ease him back in, and Sancho on the right. Sancho on the left, and then Neto on the right from Noni as the rotation to ease them back in. I could see that happening potentially, but it's a very hard one. I think Neto will start. I think he's the best and most potent of our wingers currently. I know Sanchez had a great game. Sancho had a great game. Sancho had a great game, and I rate Sancho very highly. 5 assists in 6 games. It's crazy. But I do agree. I think Neto will start on that left. Which it's does,
tough, but it's good though.
Puts my nose at a joint really with Felix because I do think he's done enough to start the next game.
Yeah.
But like you said, how do you shoehorn him in? Same with Nkunku. How do you shoehorn him in? He scored 10 goals in the last 11 European games. Can't get in the first team. It's crazy.
It's tough, but as I said, it's a good problem to have that we've got all these quality players, and I think this is kind of what Maresca wants is that. He wants all of you lot fighting for your position. So when you have everybody fighting for their place, training hard, the results come. You see the results in all the different competitions. Why? Because players are trying to prove that they should be starting in this, that and the other. So and for the club in whole, if no one throws up any social media tweets or anything like that complaining, we should see now the hard work reflecting onto the table and pushing further into FA Cup and getting into finals and all that stuff, League Cup, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? It should benefit the club
for sure. And I think again, this time of year, the games come thick and fast. So there's going to be injuries and rotation, and people need to perform. So I don't think it's the end of the world.
There's a game this weekend and there's a midweek game.
Another game of the weekend. And then we got a cup game and then a Conference League game or something.
I think we got a cup game, and then we're off to Kazakhstan on the 12th. So there's a lot of games.
A lot of travelling as well.
A lot of travelling. So, listen, just keep training, get your head down, and just keep working hard, man.
Mate, I love this lineup. I actually think we're now going to start seeing, like you said, like consistently play players from Maresca who he wants in the system. But it's, at the same time, there's certain positions that aren't up for grabs, but there's a lot that are. So it'll be very interesting. But I like that. Before I let you go, my friend, score predictions, game predictions for Chelsea Villa. We are at home. I think it's going to be a tough game. A lot of people on my socials have been saying we always beat Villa at home. I don't like to feed into superstition too much because I always think that records come to a day where they need to be broken.
They do, and we still hold the record of the most home wins in the league. So, but no one's
I don't think that will ever be broken.
No one's breaking that. Not in my lifetime. So
for sure, but it's like when we haven't lost to Spurs in 33 years. Well, that's going to come to an end.
That's going to come to an end,
right? So I feel like this game has that potential vibe. I feel confident. I think we'll win, but I don't think it's going to be a massive scoreline. I think it might be a narrow 1-0 or 2-1.
I'll be honest with you. I think Chelsea are at that point where, when it comes to big games, we tend to not go all out. I think it's going to be a draw. I say 1-1.
Ooh,
I don't think we're going to win. I don't think we're going to lose. But Aston Villa, we got to give Villa credit for what credit is due. They're a big side.
Amazing there.
They're a big side. They're a big club. I think it's going to be 1-1.
1-1 from side.
Chelsea's going to go behind first, and then we're going to get the equaliser.
We established this earlier. It's a Sanchez own goal, right?
Yeah. If we are right, man, we should do a prediction all season. But yeah, 1-1.
Mad. I love that. Okay, cool. Well, that is our predicted 11. That is our talk of everything surrounding Chelsea. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, your score predictions, your thoughts on this lineup. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I love having a conversation with you guys. Also, another massive thank you, Si.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate you coming on. Looking forward to doing more and more of these. But I will not hold you any longer, people. It's the end of the video. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy Chelsea content. If you made it this far to the end of the video, comment cheese so I know you've watched to the end. And also, there'll be a thumbnail on the screen. And if you do enjoy Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.